So, so far the mail hasn't arrived, that jury summons, but I mean, it could just be right around the corner. I can't talk too much about the affirmation of jury duty or jury duty in general without discussing jury nullification. It is one of my personal beliefs that any jury member should know and have a firm grasp of what jury nullification is. I did notice some discrepancies in different definitions, who was creating those definitions, and some of what they meant. So I'd like to summarize as much as I can. So if you'll forgive the non-verbatim description, jury nullification is essentially when a member of a jury or a collective jury has determined that they think this particular individual has broken the law, but chooses to acquit them, determining not guilty on this case because either the punishment doesn't match the crime, either they disagree with the law, either the law has been applied misappropriately to that individual in this particular case, or they want to nullify the law in its entirety. I would love to give some examples. Whatever examples I give would definitely be some hot takes, some hot topics. But I would like to just throw out one of them. Suppressors. Suppressors are very interesting. It is hearing protection. Like, that's what it does. That is the purpose of it. When suppressors were originally not manufactured, when they were originally designed, it was around the same time by the same company, in the United States at least, that they were making the muffler to make your car less noisy, thus protecting your hearing. And in other countries, it's required to have a suppressor if you're shooting outside. It's like, oh, you're buying your rifle, you're buying your handgun, here's a suppressor so you don't annoy your neighbors. Hollywood, wait, maybe I shouldn't say. TV companies, there's a lot of depiction with suppressors and how they use it. So, can a suppressor be used for malicious intent to cause less notice from third parties, which I think is how it is depicted in a lot of ways? Yes, I mean, as soon as people realize, hey, there's an active shooter, that starts a certain clock where you want to get to safety as quickly as possible. And if you don't hear those initial pops or bangs or that report of the bullet breaking the sound barrier, or the click of the gun actually firing, hitting the firing pin, hitting the primer igniting that powder, and that powder literally exploding at fast rates because it's confined at such high velocity that it accelerates those expanding gases when it deflagrates, but since it's confined, it's exploding. It shoots the projectile, that tip of the bullet that flies really fast, in a certain direction. The longer the barrel, the more direction that bullet has. Sort of. I'm oversimplifying for most audiences. Now, do I think they should be legal? Absolutely. Have they been abused in the past? Absolutely. But I don't think the abuse of a right should be limited on people that disregarded the law in the first place. So, suppressors are a very interesting topic where on a jury, some of them, say 6 of them, should be like, yeah, it shouldn't be a law. I'm acquitting anyone because this law is unjust. And then the rest of the case is a murderer wanted to increase his lethality and chose that as a option to stack the odds in his favor for that goal. A lot of people don't want that. I don't want that. But it can be weaponized because it's already a law. You can case stack. So maybe you couldn't catch him with whatever else he was doing. You know, if it's in California, max capacity laws of ammunition in your magazine, you know, a certain length barrel in some cases. But they 100% could be like, look, his fingerprints are on the interior of this suppressor. They are on the exterior of this suppressor. It was manufactured with his initials and his name on it, or you know, perhaps that's a bit ridiculous, but all these definitive signs of he was using this, and then they do the GSR, the gunshot residue tests, that identically matches, oh, there was so much burn powder on his fingers and in this barrel. So we can match. We can be like, hey, there was so much gunpowder that, you know, a certain percentage burned, a certain percentage didn't burn. There's more soot. There's, you know, tiny pieces of brass from the shell casing, which when exploded, it scraped. And when that copper bullet or the hollow point bullet rotated in that rifling of the barrel, those fragments were left on that interior, and, you know, around, you know, maybe he's wearing safety glasses to either conceal his eyes or whatever. But you can use that as information you have. So are you nullifying, or are you making your determination off of different things? So is he guilty of a crime, which is, there's lots of laws, lots of very useful laws, like laws that should be there. And there is way too many laws that should not be there. But that's to entrap everyone so that the case can be determined on a case-by-case basis, either by the judge or the jury. So, jury nullification, in recap, is acquitting someone that perhaps has broken the law for a few reasons, or possibly for a few reasons. Does the law... should the law be there? Okay, that's kind of your first question that you could be asking right off the bat. Is the law being appropriately used in this case? Or is it, oh, well, because of the language, that's how this all got started? Does the punishment match the crime? That should always be a 1-for-1 ratio. Like, if it doesn't match, no. Like, not guilty. Acquit. And is... I think those were the main ones. So, should the law be there? Is it being applied properly? And does the punishment match the crime? And is it being appropriately applied? I think I recited that a few times. But think about it. If you are on jury duty, I think you have NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, but definitely think about all of these options and what's going on, how evidence is collected. I would like to expand further, but this is today's diary. I don't know what we're calling this, but still affirming, still trying to affirm. So far, hopefully I'll be on a sweet case, get my jury summons right away, let them know I'm interested, and then go through the process.